Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Matt.
I'm Mimi.
I'm Megan.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Grandpa.
I'm Aunt Becky.
I'm Kelly.
And we're some of the Veggie Boys.
And girls.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. If you're new here, please consider subscribing because we can grow a lot of stuff on the farm, but one thing we can't grow is this channel without your help. Everything's good in here. Something that's important to note there is that the trays where they were, the temperature was about 5 to 6 degrees warmer than the air temperature, and that's because of those heated tables. Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to see you. We have got a cold, windy day on our hands. It is starting to warm up a little bit, but we are getting wind gusts that are reaching 40 miles per hour, which makes it feel much colder than it is. And the sustained winds that we're receiving is keeping the temperature around 10 to 20 degrees below what it is, so the real feel is much lower than the actual temperature. Here inside the farm market, Matthew had already got it all set up for us. He's got all the produce pulled out and filled up. It is Friday, so Dad is at the wholesaler. That means anything that we need, he will be picking up. And we're just about ready to start taking care of the animals. Probably wait till Dad comes back so that we can help him. That way the produce isn't out in the cold for long. And then we'll be able to head down around back and get everything else taken care of. Dad is now back from the wholesaler. We've got everything unloaded off of the van. All of the orders have now been put together, and everything else that we didn't need to put out right away has been moved into the cooler. So now that we are all finished with that, we can move down around back.
Come on in where it's warm, Andrew.
Oh, I'm coming in. What's up, buddy? Something that I wasn't expecting, their water bowl is actually thawed. I want to get silage for the cattle, but I'm waiting for the skid steer loader to warm up. Daniel just ran into the chicken pen. He got all the eggs collected. It looks like the chickens have got plenty of food in there, so that's one less thing we have to worry about. I just want to check their water bowl really fast, just to make sure it's thawed. Yep, we are good. It makes sense that the water bowls are thawed out. It's warmer today than it was yesterday. And the fact that all these water bowls are out of the wind, that's important because the wind is what's tricking me today. It feels much colder. So we had a few things going on while we were feeding. One, we got the sawdust dumped into the pit. So another full truckload put into here. We've been getting calls from the place where we get our sawdust, so every time we can, we go and pick up a truckload. That's been keeping everything nice and bedded up around here. Not only did they get the sawdust dumped, Dad was able to get the calves all bed up, so the calves should be good and comfy. So all the animals are fed. We've got the chickens all taken care of, we got the calves taken care of, and we just got the rest of the cattle taken care of. I believe we're gonna add some bedding into the one pen of cattle, so we'll get working on that once Matt's got the truck all cleaned off. But so far everything's been going pretty smoothly, except for when you get those wind gusts that blow through and blow snow up everywhere. That's never fun. I'm just standing here looking over the pasture in the valley, and you can hear the wind just blowing through the valley. It is cold out. That wind is making everything very, very chilly. I just broke my mount too, so that'll make filming fun for today. I got snow on my face. I'm fine with that too. So a big question about the sawdust we get is why do we like it so much? One, it's super absorbent, and the reason for that is because the wood that the sawdust is a byproduct of was dried in a kiln, which makes it very, very dry. Also, the cost is much better as opposed to some other methods we used for bedding up in the past. Mostly straw is what we've used, stuff that we've baled ourselves. However, since we're using sawdust to bed up our animals, all that straw can now be sold. And that straw adds up to a nice little chunk of profit for us, helps the farm out a ton. So if we can keep selling the straw rather than use it for bedding, we're gonna do that. The only animals we use straw for bedding anymore is with the chickens, and that's kind of obvious. The chickens like to scratch through it. It's great in the nest. We could use sawdust, but we have found that the chickens prefer straw. I'm gonna need help here. All right, I'm coming. Matt almost let all the cattle out. That sawdust over there for, huh? What are you gonna do? She's a big baby, you know that, man. Yeah, she's a big baby. Yep. Like a bunch of big puppy dogs. They are having some fun. Could you imagine being in there playing with them like that? Sometimes they think you want to play with them like that. That's why you got to be careful. Daniel is just bedding up that next pen, but I saw Dad show up with some bales of straw, so I'm going to run over and help him. You need 2 people watching that other pen because the cattle can get past you pretty quickly. But where Matthew's at right now, that's pretty solid. We don't have to worry too much. I'm already tired of being out in the cold, so we're gonna head someplace a little bit warmer. For as cold and windy as it is, that sunshine and these blue skies sure make me feel better. So I got up into the greenhouse. I mentioned I was gonna be somewhere warmer, and it is much warmer in here. Right now we are sitting right below 80 degrees, and that is prime greenhouse weather. Got the trays pulled apart. We're gonna start filling them up with some soil. Aunt Rhonda was up here looking at what we need to plant today or what we need to seed. We have some petunias, and then Dad was also thinking about doing some peppers. I believe there was one more thing, impatience. Impatience, so we're gonna try and do some petunias, impatience, and maybe get some peppers planted. I say planted, maybe I should be using the word seeded, but you get what I'm saying. Before we can get started with seeding, I do need to get these trays filled up with soil, so that's what my job is gonna be right now. Matthew had got a call. He might have to go get bedding, so that would be good if he could go pick up another truckload. And then we also got a call from one of the local dairies I believe Jeff has calves for us. So someone's gonna need to pick up calves, someone's gonna need to get sawdust, and whoever's left is gonna be working here in the greenhouse with me. But while they're getting all that squared away, I just wanted to get a few trays put together so that when they do get here, we can get moved right into seeding. So what we want to do with these plug trays is we want to take another tray, put it on top after they've been filled, and apply light pressure so that we can get little indentations into the tray, just like this. And this gives each seed an opportunity to sit down into the soil. Now we don't want to go too deep, because if we go too deep when we come over with our top layer, it's going to be much more difficult for the seed to germinate. So we don't want to apply too much pressure. We want to make sure that we are getting those little indents into each plug, but we don't want it too deep so as to affect our germination later on. Because the less soil we have on top, the easier it will be for the seeds to germinate and push out. And that can save us a lot of time and money, because some of these seeds have trouble. If they can't push out of the soil, they'll basically give up. They won't have the energy to do it. And it could either, one, take a lot longer for these seeds to poke out of the soil, or two, they could just die altogether. But when we are keeping such a thin layer of soil on top, that brings in other risks, drying out the seeds, and when you're watering, you could literally flood the seeds out of the tray. So these are things we have to keep in mind, but we have found that if we're careful with watering and making sure everything has enough moisture, this benefits us way more than it causes us to have issues. So I've just been at work here in the greenhouse getting some trays filled up. We've got a good amount to be started with. The first thing we are going to be seeding today is a pepper. It is our orange habaneros. Now the only problem is we wanted to do ghost chilies and red habanero as well. However, those seeds have not come in yet. So orange habanero is what we're gonna have to get started with. Now the reason why orange habanero is so important for us to be starting with now is because they grow slow. I don't know any other way to explain it to you. They just grow really slow. The germination rates on them are slow. So we prefer to start the habaneros and the ghost chilies now. Unfortunately, we're only gonna be able to start with the orange habanero. There we go, a nice tray of habaneros. Give them a nice light dusting of soil over the top. Now we won't have to worry about our orange habaneros. We'll just have to worry about our red habaneros and ghost chilies when the time comes. Very good. It still blows my mind that we just seeded over 500 habaneros just like that. And what vegetables are we moving on to now?
I need a tray of celery and a tray of basil.
Very good. We just got the basil all seeded, and Dad just dumped the celery seeds on there, so I'm gonna make a label so that we don't get anything confused. Now, these seeds, these celery seeds, many of you may wonder why they are blue. These are coated so that we can use them with the seeder. Sometimes you can get them coated with other things. If you're direct seeding into the soil, sometimes that can be a good idea. A lot of times seeds will be coated to help prevent them from molding. We do have some seeds that have those coatings as well. These might have that on there. I didn't check the seed packet, but for the most part, these celery seeds are coated so that we can use them with the seeder. If I misspell it, it's Daniel's fault. Oh, this thing is so nice. Now that we are all finished with the habanero, celery, and basil, we're moving on to flowers. The first thing that we're gonna be doing is petunias. It looks like Dad has dumped on a tri-blue petunia, so it's beautiful color, beautiful flower, and we sell a lot of them. Dad and I have been making some good progress in the greenhouse. It is warming up. We are almost at 90 degrees in here. We have been moving through the flowers relatively quickly though. We still have 2 right here, and then we also have a few packs right here. If we didn't have that air seeder, this would take a lot longer than it normally does. The thing that's great about this machine is we're able to put 512 seeds at most in a tray at a time, which honestly cuts down on everything. The fact that we have this machine just allows us to move through these plantings so quickly, and when we get to the time where we start raising our vegetables, seeding our own tomato, seeding our own pepper, seeding our own cabbage, broccoli, whatever we need just flies by. Dad and I have been making good progress today. He's moving on to the next variety of flowers, and I'm still over here covering any trays I can, and I'm also filling some more up because we still got trays that need filled.
So that's all the petunias we're planting at this time. Now we're moving on to impatiens. So we're going to plant a little bit of each color of impatiens. The reason we plant so many different plantings is we don't want it all to be ready to sell at once. The packs, when you plant them into trays and stuff to sell, you can't hold them in there too long or it hurts the plants. They get root bound and they don't do as well for the customer when they buy them and plant them. So you want a plant that's rooted real nice in a pack. You want a plant that is going to continue to grow. So you really don't want a real big plant in a pack if you're buying. You want to buy a plant that's nice and sturdy, looks healthy, and is not too root bound, because once those roots get root bound, they die, and then when you plant them in your garden, they sit there for a while before they start to grow. And the reason they do that is they have to restart growing roots. So we try to avoid that by planting more often. And I really like this printer. Somebody sent us. It's a Brothers printer. It prints the labels for us. It really makes things look nice and professional and does a nice job. Prints the label nice, put it right on the tray.
I've now got all the trays that we needed filled up, so I'm gonna take over tagging for Dad and moving the trays around. That way he just has to focus on seeding. Dad and I have been working in here for quite a while. It's getting really warm. We had to move our beverages out into the fridge. Look at that. There's Dad's beverage and there's my beverage over there. Tell you what, that snow does keep things cold. It feels good after working in here for a while to go out in the cold. Just cools you down. So I'm gonna be working by myself here for a little bit. Dad has to run. Daniel just got back with the 2 new calves, and Dad doesn't want Daniel to have to struggle getting him into the pens by himself. So he's gonna run down and help him, and while he's gone, I'm just gonna continue seeding here. Now, seeding is definitely a job that you can do by yourself, but like everything else on the farm, it is a little easier when you have some more help. Now, because Dad had to run down doesn't mean I have to stop. It just takes me a little longer to do everything. We should still be able to finish by this morning, but I just gotta take my time and make sure I don't get anything mixed up because I'm focusing on all the jobs now instead of one. The next variety that we're doing is a salmon color. Ooh, isn't that cool? That'll look nice. Look how small these seeds are. You're gonna run in some trouble with these seeds. These are my favorite ones to do. I don't know why. I think it's just because I love that they come in these tiny little test tubes. They just make me laugh. What do you got next? Petunia Frost Fire. It's a cool name too. I just got the last tray of petunias seeded for the day. Dad is covering it up now. So the last thing left to do in the greenhouse for the morning is get all this stuff watered that we had just seeded. Dad and I got finished at perfect timing because it is now lunch. I gotta grab my drink out of its snow and I'm gonna make my way down and get something to eat. For lunch today, it looks like we've got all different types of leftovers. We've got some tacos, we got some sausage. There's just plenty to go around for everybody. So once I got finished with lunch, I came home to check on Lauren. She is doing well. How has your morning been, hon?
It's been good. Callie been playing. I've just been relaxing, trying to relax.
How are we feeling?
Feeling okay.
Good, 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 good. Lauren is doing great. Babies are healthy. She is healthy. We're getting excited days. We're counting them down.
Crazy.
Ooh, babies are coming. It's at the point where we're gonna start having some family members show up around here, just hanging out for a few days. Things are starting to get exciting. So this is the last video before the babies get here, which that's kind of wild. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Prepare to see the other boys more.
Yep, you might see the other boys a little bit, just being honest, because I don't know how things are gonna go, how much time I'm gonna have. So that is something I will say. Prepare to see the boys a little bit. Maybe we'll mix in some clips here and there of what we got going on here at the house. Lauren with her recovery and everything, I don't know how much she'll want the camera around, which makes sense, you know, I'm not doing the work, she is, so we'll just have to wait and see. But we just wanted to give you a little update on Lauren. She's doing good, we're doing good, and this is the last video before the babies get here. I don't know what to say. I think I'm very excited, but I'm also very nervous. Just, it's a whole new thing. You know, farm's always growing, but we usually, when we say that, we're talking about what we're growing, what we're raising, but I guess this is technically growing and raising. Farmers, we got to do everything big. Alrighty, everybody, we are now getting ready to sit down and have dinner. It's date night, but we didn't go anywhere. We got something and brought it home. Are you ready for dinner?
I'm ready for dinner.
Alrighty, so we're gonna sit down and eat, and that means this is where we're gonna end the video. Guys, as a reminder, if you're new here, please remember to subscribe. Also, if you like these videos and you want to see more like it, please check out the channel. Hey, we're so glad that you guys are here, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye!